You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Good evening and welcome to the Outspoken Sportscast. My name is Craig. I'm your host for this evening. Brian is out of town. This is episode 162, the NFL Recap Edition. Tonight we will cover Week 6's highlights of all the games. We'll cover Week 7 and pick the games from this week. We will cover the NFL Power Rankings, and we will also cover your MLB Championship Series are finally set. At the end of the night, we will cover what's in my locker. Since I will not be here on Friday, Brian should be back. So all that is ahead on the backside of this coming up next. All right, folks, welcome back. Episode 162, your NFL Recap Edition. Week 6 has been absolutely insane. If anybody says they could pick these games, they are way better than I am. Speaking of the picks for Week 6, I finished 7-7, and Brian finished 5-9. Had a little bit of a rough week on both ends, but I squeaked by with a win there. So basically, we are probably pretty close to being even for the year. It has been brutally difficult to pick these games. It just when you think you know what's going to happen and teams start to come into what they are, they something happens and the week like this happens, and just when you think you know a team, you obviously don't. We started on Thursday night with the Commanders and the Bears and talk about another Amazon snooze fest. They have got to be wondering what kind of games they are getting on Amazon. They cannot get a solid football game to save their life. Even this week's game is not going to be great with New Orleans and Arizona. Both those teams look like they have their own set of problems. Commanders win 12-7, but they face their own issues with Carson Wentz going to miss some time with a finger injury. So Taylor Heineke will be taking over the helm in Washington for the Commanders. We'll see if that goes any better than the Carson Wentz experiment. 49ers Falcons. Just when you think the 49ers have made their statement and are going to take over the NFC West, and their defense looks like they're going to lock everything down, they go and let up 28 points and lose to the Falcons, who just seem to be a thorn in everybody's side. And when you thought they were going to be the number one pick, clearly the number one pick in the NFL, they end up winning football games and surprising you and beating what we thought was a very good 49er team. Patriots, Browns, the Bailey Zacky experiment in New England has become. You have another quarterback controversy. People are saying Mac Jones won't get his job back after the high ankle sprain. This kid has won 2 or 3 football games in a row and has the Patriots moving in the right direction. I mean, obviously, I don't think they make the playoffs because of that division. You got the Dolphins, you got the Bills. The AFC is tough. I don't think they make some noise, but may have a quarterback controversy in New England. Where we don't have one is in Dallas. We will get to that in a minute, but I believe everybody that has been clamoring for that, you guys can stop because that's over. So the Patriots win 38-15, absolutely own Cleveland, and just another team in Cleveland where you don't know which team is going to show up. One week they are world beaters, the next week they can't get out of their own way. Nick Chubb is trying to average 5 yards a carry and try to carry the team. Jacoby Brissett is Jacoby Brissett. One week he has a great week, the next week he can't hit the water if he fell out of the boat. So the Browns will be getting Watson back in a couple weeks, but again, I just don't think it's going to be too late. I think that ship's going to be sailed, and you just don't know what Deshaun's going to give him after being out for a season and a half. The upset of the day, the New York Jets go into Lambeau and give Aaron Rodgers one of the worst losses he's had in a long time. There's trouble in paradise no matter what anybody says. The Green Bay Packers are in trouble. The Minnesota Vikings now have a 2-game lead, and this Green Bay team looks like it's in shambles. And when you ask the head coach what is the problem? What is the fix? And he looks like an Elmo gif and goes, I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably not the answer that fans want to hear. To sit here and go, yeah, I don't know what's going to fix the football team. I don't know what's going to fix our offense. I don't know what's going to keep getting Aaron Rodgers from getting hit. Is it all on Rodgers? No, but it's not all on the offensive line either. He is trying to hold on to the football. He's trying to let things develop. These wide receivers and him are clearly not on the same page. And while we knew the effect of Deshaun Watson would hurt, we did not have any idea that it would be this bad. It clearly is affecting Rodgers and the Packers. But I mean they're looking rough in all aspects. I mean, they had a blocked punt. The defense lets up a bunch of points. Zach Wilson's out here throwing the ball around the yard. The Jets are running on them. This team is in trouble. They still have to play Dallas. They still have to play Philly. And they got to play Minnesota, who already has a 2-game lead. There's trouble in Green Bay. I would like to think they still can right the ship and make the playoffs at 3-3, but there are a lot of teams in the NFC. That NFC East looks like there could be 3 teams coming out of there that all make the playoffs. So that leaves one wild card and probably coming out of the West. So if you don't win the division, if you don't somehow overcome the 2-game lead that Minnesota has, you're going to be in trouble. The Colts beat the Jaguars. The Colts finally, Matt Ryan looks like what they wanted to why they brought him here. He has 3 touchdown passes. He leads the team back from deal and gets Indianapolis a much needed win. The Jaguars are they can't get out of their own way. They should be winning these football games and somehow they're not. And so I think they're another year away. Do I think Doug Peterson's doing a good job? Yes. But you have to look at the record, and I've personally never been a fan of Trevor Lawrence. I thought he was overrated in college. I thought he never really played anybody. When he did play, Alabama, it wasn't great all the time. I just thought it was an overrated skill set. I didn't think it would transfer to the NFL very well. He showed some bright spots earlier in the year, but he's also shown he's throwing some real passes that are head scratchers. And you go, where is he throwing the football? And so I'm not sure if he's the answer in Jacksonville, but it doesn't appear that it's going to be this year where they make a playoff run. And you know, Peterson will have to see what they do here in the long run. Vikings, Dolphins. The Vikings beat the Dolphins, go to 5-1. The Dolphins, again, Skylar Thompson gets hurt. They have to go to Teddy Bridgewater. They cannot keep the same guy behind center for 4 quarters. They just can't. Tua is cleared before this game. He's medically cleared. He should come back in week 7. We will see if there's any concussion rust or couple week off not playing rust, and see if he can jump back in and restart the Dolphins in the right direction. Right now they're kind of spiraling out of control because they just can't keep the same guy behind center, and they have no continuity. The Bengals beat the Saints. This was a very good win for Cincinnati. They were down almost the whole game. They were down 14-0 at one point in time and came back to win. And in New Orleans. So it's a very solid win for Joe Burrow and crew. Jamar Chase goes for 132 and 2 touchdowns. Burrow runs another one in on a wide open backside. There's nobody covering the backside, and he runs it in. And the Bengals get a huge win over the Saints. That's a big loss for the Saints because they were winning the whole game, and so that is very difficult to swallow if you are New Orleans. And then you have a quick turnaround Thursday night against a kind of befuddled Arizona team in Kyler Murray, who can't get out of his own way, it appears. So that'll be interesting to see on Thursday night how both those teams recover, and it will be a very much kind of a must win for both teams. Whoever wins it will kind of keep themselves in the discussion, and whoever loses it will not kind of be out of the discussion. I think Arizona could have coaching. You could see Kingsbury being let go. He could be the next Matt Rule if they lose again, and especially at home. And so that'll be a very interesting game Thursday night to see how that goes. Another huge game was the Ravens and the Giants in the Meadowlands. The Giants just don't go away. They are 5-1. They beat the Ravens. The defense makes 2 huge stops at the end of the game. When Lamar Jackson is in the red zone twice, he throws a pick and he fumbles. And the New York Football Giants win 24-20 and are 5-1. And every time I sit here and say, I don't think the Giants are real, I don't think the Giants are for real, they go and win a game like this. And so, they have 2 left against Philly, 1 against Dallas. Their schedule isn't exactly easy, but at the end of the day, right now, they're winning football games, and you cannot the head coach has got them running through brick walls and playing some very good football right now. They're playing football on both sides of the ball. They're very good defensively. They're very solid defensively. They're not out thinking the room. Daniel Jones is doing what he needs to do to guide the team to victory. Saquon Barkley looks like he's healthy and he's back and having a great season. He took a slide down on the 1 yard line, which fantasy owners just blew their mind because they couldn't understand, because it would have given the team an 11-point lead and it would have made it 2 scores. So why he did that and just kneeled it out, I have no idea. But the Giants look like they may be for real, and you could have 3 teams coming out of the NFC East. It looks like the old school 90s NFC East, where you better have 12 or 13 wins to think about winning this division. Very easily, it appears right now that Philadelphia has the fast track. New York is above Dallas. There could be a new division winner for the 30th time in a row. I mean, there hasn't been a back-to-back NFC East champion in years, and so be very interesting to see how that division wraps up in the long run, and see if Dallas has enough now that their quarterback's coming back, or if Philadelphia or the Giants go and take that and kind of claim it for themselves. Steelers beat Tom Brady and the Bucks. The defense harasses Tom all day long, has him so frustrated to the point he's over flipping stuff over and going in the offensive line huddle, just ripping these guys up one side and down the other. Here's a team that we thought in their sleep could walk into that division and back their way into a division title, and they're 3-3, and I'm not sure that they can. I mean, they really don't have a huge threat right now because of, I mean, other than maybe Atlanta, but I don't think Atlanta has enough to stay that way to withhold that. But boy, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, talk about another team like the Packers that are in trouble in paradise. Tom Brady is not liking, he is asking himself every day, why did I come back for this? I could have left on a better note. It is looking like Father Time is still undefeated. Brady is not able to get away from these pass rushes. He is struggling, and he is doing what he needs to do, but they just can't win football games. They cannot win football games, and that is a problem in Tampa. New head coach in Todd Bowles. The defense doesn't look great. The offense looks even worse, and Tampa is in trouble. They lose to the Steelers. The Steelers lose Kenny Pickett. Trubisky's got to come back in to the game and take over because of Pickett getting in concussion protocol. There was a report that came out today that Trubisky wasn't removed exactly for his play as much as he went into the locker room at halftime of one of the games, and him and Deontay Johnson, one of the new wide receivers, got in a screaming match, and Tomlin's like, yeah, you're done. We don't do that here. And basically blamed Deontay for the problem. Deontay blamed him, and they went a different direction. So I would think as soon as Pickett's healthy, he will be back in, and that is the path they're going to go. I just don't understand where Trubisky is going. We thought maybe with a franchise that knew what they were doing and was well organized that he might do better, but it appears not. So I just have to wonder in Pittsburgh how long Trubisky will be around. If they let him go, if they move on for this year, or if they try to hang on and see if he can teach Pickett or use him as a backup. The Rams beat the Panthers. It kind of looks like the Rams finally found some offense. They scored 24 points. Stafford looks a little bit better, and you had to wonder this game if the Panthers would win one for the new coach, for the interim coach, because of the coaching change. And it kind of went a different direction. Robbie Anderson gets in a screaming match, pulls himself to the side, kind of throws a temper tantrum. The new head coach goes, yeah, we're not doing that. Take your stuff, go to the locker room. Sends Robbie Anderson to the locker room in the middle of the game, and then immediately after the game, they trade him to Arizona, and Robbie Anderson is now no longer on the Carolina Panthers. He's an Arizona Cardinal. because they are facing their wide receiver out for about 6 weeks with the ankle injury. So we'll see what Robbie Anderson can do in Arizona, but his time in Carolina is over because of a disagreement with the interim head coach and the sideline and the team. So the Rams win 24-10 there. The Seahawks beat the befuddled Arizona Cardinals, who can't seem to get out of their own way. The Cardinals do get DeAndre Hopkins back this week. He comes back from his PED suspension and will be around and hopefully help Kyler out. Kyler Murray, that is Kyler Murray's safety net. He can run around and then find D-Hop and then end up hopefully finding Hopkins. He ends up, this team just doesn't seem to have the offense to sustain long periods of time. Last year when they were 7-0, I thought they were fake. Cliff Kingsbury absolutely does not have a grasp. He's running the kind of this run and shoot college offense. He's never had a defense. He never had a defense in Texas Tech. They can't really sustain the NFL for a long period of time. They are here, they are there. They have good games, they have bad games. Right now, it looks like Arizona paid Kyler Murray a bunch of money, and they're going to struggle. We have a comment from Christine Smith. She says, hello. Hi, Christine. Thank you for joining us this evening. We will be here on Tuesdays and Fridays. You can watch on YouTube, Twitch, and any other podcast streaming that you have. Brian is normally on Fridays right now. Jeff will be rejoining him shortly, and then come after high school football, I will be returning to Fridays. Me and Brian are normally here on Tuesday. He is out of town for work, and so he will be back next Tuesday. He will also be back this Friday. And so that is the update there. The game of the week, Bills, Chiefs, absolutely everything we expected it to be. Both teams played solid football games. Buffalo nips them at the end. They learn from their mistakes. They don't leave Patrick Mahomes enough time to mount a comeback, and they win 24-20 and take the early path to the number 1 seed in the AFC. Of course, we will see how it plays out, whether or not Buffalo can stay on the pace. We've called this the Josh Allen Revenge Tour for the whole year, and he goes into Kansas City and avenges the AFC Championship loss. That was a absolute heartbreaker for them, where he leaves 12 seconds or something on the clock, and Patrick Mahomes goes down the field and ties the game, and then wins in overtime, to where we know that the Josh Allen overtime rules will change this year and give both teams a chance to field the ball after Josh Allen did not get a chance to do that last year. The Sunday night game, Philadelphia-Dallas. Philadelphia remains undefeated. Dallas got down behind 20-0 early, looked absolutely overwhelmed, looked absolutely like that team was not anything what they were supposed to be. They did make some halftime adjustments, which is good to see if you're a Dallas fan, because in Dallas they have not ever been known. Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy do not normally make halftime adjustments. They normally just go and say, no, it's just execute. If we execute better, we'll win the football game. They changed a bunch of things up. Zeke Elliott looked like a man on a mission the second half. I haven't seen him run that hard in since he was a rookie. He absolutely running through people, running around people. They get close to they get it to within 2017. Rush has as CeeDee Lamb running down the sideline wide open. The defensive back had tripped over, I don't know, the 30-yard line and fell down, was wide open, and Rush kind of waits and pumps and gets hit and throws it short, and they intercept it, and the rest is history. You can't turn the ball over 3 times against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Dallas defense did get a little bit called out here. They cannot stop the run as well as they should be able to. And so if you have a team like Philadelphia and they can run the football and execute the run, that's exactly what they did. They had several long drives. Dallas gets it to 2017. Philadelphia, 15-play, 85-yard drive, stuffs it right back down Dallas's throat and running the football, and the game is over. And so Dallas needs to be able to stop the run, and they need to do a better job at that. The Philadelphia Eagles might have shown a blueprint for Micah Parsons. You didn't really hear his name all night long. As a Dallas fan, you just want to hope that he wasn't 100% with his groin. But the bottom line is the Philadelphia Eagles look like they are for real. They had not faced the Dallas defense. They had not faced a defense that good. They did. They put up 20 points and only 6 in the second half. But they do make a statement and beat Dallas, and they win 26-17. And Dallas appears that Dak Prescott will be activated and play against Detroit. It looks like the Cooper Rush experiment of being a starting NFL quarterback is over. I personally don't think that there's a quarterback controversy in Dallas. I think Cooper Rush did his job and did a better job. If you tell Dallas you're going to lose your starting quarterback week 1, and when you come into week 6 against or week 7 against the Detroit Lions, you'll be 4-2, and you'll be 2 games back of the division and 1 game back of second place, and you will have a wild card spot, and you're going to be in playoff contention. I think they would have taken that and absolutely run with it, because 95% of Dallas fans said the minute Dak Prescott got hurt and was going to miss 6 to 8 weeks that their season was over. We will see what happens. I think Dak Prescott is just like, he's heard all this. He hears the media. He hears the noise. He's very big on social media. He like Kevin Durant, he hears everything. And I believe he's heard what was said, and I believe he's going to come out and come after the Detroit Lions like a man on a mission. And you're going to see a different Dakota Prescott come Sunday and going forward. The Monday night game, Chargers pull out 19-16 on a last-minute field goal. Their kicker kicks a bunch of field goals as he's hurt. He's now out 2 to 4 weeks with a leg injury, but he somehow wills them to victory last night and kicks a 39-yarder as he's collapsed into the ground, and they win this football game. Russell Wilson, you thought to start the game, he looked like maybe it was a lat issue. Maybe the cortisone shot that he got helped and was going to fix the problem he was going to have. He starts 13 for 13. He's got a bunch of yards. He's looking good. And then all of a sudden they go back to letting Russ cook, and he can't hit the water if he fell out of the boat. And I just don't know. Pete Carroll normally isn't wrong, and when Pete Carroll's like, yeah, go ahead, trade him. When he gives up on him, it sure looks right now that Pete Carroll is correct in saying that Russell Wilson's time was up, and that's pretty hard to swallow if you're Denver, because you just gave him a bunch of money, and so now you're in trouble. That will be the recap of week 6. Like I said, I went 7-7. Brian went 5-9. And as you could tell, there was several upsets and reasons for that to happen. Not a lot of people were expecting the Giants to not a lot of people expected the Giants beat the Ravens. Nobody was expecting the Falcons to beat the 49ers. Nobody definitely didn't expect the Jets to beat Green Bay. So you had several upsets and things of that nature. So we move on to week 7. And we're going to make our picks and see if we can't do better than the 7-7 and take another win over Brian. So he has emailed me his picks. So we will make those now and go on to the power rankings right after that. So the Thursday night game, the Saints and the Cardinals. I can't pick Arizona. This game is in Arizona, but I just cannot trust Kyler Murray. He has been over the map. He has been very inconsistent. I understand they get DeAndre Hopkins back. I understand they're at home. Saints are trying to avenge a big loss on Sunday that they let the Bengals, they were down, they blew a 14-point lead. I just think that the Saints offense can give the Cardinals some trouble. I think that I just think the Saints win. So I'm going to take the Saints. Brian takes the Arizona Cardinals at home. And so that is the Thursday night game. We have at noon, we have the Detroit Lions visiting the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott comes back. I believe Dallas wins this football game. Detroit could give them problems in the running game. DeAndre Swift should be coming back from their bye week. He was supposed to return, so we will see if that happens. If they can run the football, then they could be very dangerous. Other than the week against the Patriots, they're averaging 35 points a game. So Dallas, if your defense is for real, this is the week to show up, because you got a team that's high flying and should have all their players back, and it'll be a game. So me and Brian are both picking Dallas. The Packers are going to play the Commanders. And this is a win that the Packers just have to have. The game's in Washington. Carson Wentz will be out. Taylor Heineke will be taking over at quarterback. I just think that the Green Bay Packers, I understand that there is trouble in paradise, but what better way to come out of a slump than to draw the Washington Commanders, one of the worst teams in football, who have their own problems themselves, of the head coach throwing the quarterback under the bus, and guys not playing on defense, and guys fighting amongst each other in the locker room. And so that will be we're both taking the Packers on that game. Falcons and Bengals. Uh, the Falcons are a thorn in everybody's side. They're winning football games they're not supposed to win. Cincinnati appears that they've kind of hit their stride and found their rhythm. The offense looks a little better. They're kind of protecting Burrow a little bit better. We're both going to take the Bengals in this. I just think that it's in Cincinnati. I think that the thing that helped the Falcons beat the Niners were home field advantage, and they're not at home. So we're both taking the Cincinnati Bengals. Colts, Titans. Matt Ryan, like I said, decided he was going to learn how to play football again and throw the ball around the yard. The Titans have been very Jekyll and Hyde, up 1 week, down a week. We're both going to take the Titans in that game. The Bucks and the Panthers. Carolina is in shambles. It just absolutely, even the interim head coach, it doesn't look like Carolina looks like they're on a crash course for the number one pick. We are taking the Buccaneers, who are on their own little mini revenge tour, to try to avenge the loss from the Jets. They don't want to lead two bad, horrible losses in a row. If they lose to the Carolina Panthers, it would be very much trouble in Tampa. Giants, Jaguars. The New York Giants appear that they are for real, folks. And so this could be a problem in the NFC East. Their schedule for the next few weeks is very, very doable for them to win more games in a row and have the only one loss be their Dallas Cowboys until they run into Philadelphia, until they run into Dallas again on Thanksgiving. This team could put some wins together, could stack some wins together. They're playing really good football for this head coach. I'm going to take the Giants over the I don't trust Trevor Lawrence Jacksonville Jaguars, and so is Brian. Brian's going to take the Giants. We both like that game. We both like that team, and so there's that. Ravens and the Browns. Baltimore, that's a tough loss. Losing to the Giants, they basically led the first part of the game. They had a couple bad turnovers late. I think they both come back. I think that Ravens defense is too tough for Cleveland. I think Brissett is just trying to bide his time, and it's not working real well. We both picked the Ravens there. Jets, Broncos. There's trouble in Denver. He don't know if it's health. I don't know if it's chemistry. I don't know if it's the head coach. I don't know what it is, but Russell Wilson looks and appears like he is not the quarterback he was in Seattle. The Jets are just running through brick walls for this head coach. The looks like these new head coaches have really, really found the right spot for themselves and done the right things. And so we are both taking the Jets in this football game. And I would like to apologize because I said going into their bye week that they may not win a football game and that they may be moving on from Zach Wilson and that they may be moving on from the first-year head coach and that I would not have wanted to take that job. And I said a lot of things in the preseason about the New York Jets, and I appeared to be wrong about all of them. So we'll see if the Jets can keep rolling. 4-2 for the Jets, 5-1 for the Giants. They are 9-3, and New York is a happy place right now. And so we will see where it goes from there. Raiders and Texans. Texans are in shambles. The only team that could possibly take a first number one overall pick away from Carolina will be the Houston Texans. We both take the Raiders in that game. Let's see. Sorry about this. We're trying to do it. Look at his text and bounce back and forth. Chargers. We are the Chargers and the Seahawks. Geno Smith kind of hold on and do what he can. Pete Carroll's trying to will this team to win. The Chargers are 4-2. The Seahawks are 3-3. I just think the Chargers have more weapons, more power. Herbert is the best quarterback on the field by far. I think he can will this team to victory. We're going to both take the Chargers. Chiefs 49ers. After the 49ers completely melted down against the Atlanta Falcons, I cannot take them against a team that looks very, very solid in the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs get back in the win column. Me and Brian are both taking the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Steelers Dolphins. Tua comes back. And if I'm Tua, that's a little bit scary to face this Steeler defense that was all around and on and in the backfield around Brady and hitting Brady all night long. If you're Tua, you're like, guys, I'm going to need some time to throw the football, and you hope that is a possibility. I am going to take the Dolphins in this. Brian is also taking the Dolphins. So, Tua coming back, we both take the Dolphins. Patriots and the Bears on Monday night. I am just not a Justin Fields fan. I am taking the Patriots all day long, whether it's Bailey Zappi, whether it's Mac Jones, it doesn't matter. The Patriots win this football game, and that will wrap up the picks for week number 7. Brian picked the Patriots as well. On to the NFL power rankings. A little bit different than last week. I had Dallas, and I had said that I was waiting to see what the result of the Philadelphia game was. Philadelphia beat them. So we're going to have to remove Dallas and put the New York Football Giants in their place. 5-1. You've beat the Ravens. You've beat everybody but the Cowboys. And they've done it in different ways. They've done it running. They've done it passing. They've done it defensively. They look like they are kicking their special teams. It looks like in all phases of the football game, this head coach has them ready. Brian Daboll has them ready, and they're running through a wall for this guy, and he's in the locker room dancing. He's got these guys pumped up. They're ready to play. The New York Football Giants are my number 5 seed. Number 4 is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. They are 5-1. They have a 2-game lead on the Green Bay Packers. They beat a Dolphins team that, yes, the Dolphins were beat up. Yes, you happened to catch them at the time, but you can only play the team that's in front of you. So you're going to play the team that's in front of you, and they're 5-1. They look good. Kirk Cousins is doing what he needs to do. As long as he does not play on Sunday night or Monday night or Thursday night, any kind of prime time matchup, Kirk Cousins is apparently the guy for the job and can lead this team to wins. Kirk Cousins trying to get himself another contract. We will see how that goes. If he keeps winning in Minnesota, they're going to have to pay him. So we will see how that goes. But Minnesota at 4. Number 3, Kansas City Chiefs. You lost to Buffalo, and you didn't lose by very much. But I think they're going to go on another win streak and climb right back up the rankings here very soon. But right now I have Kansas City at 3. Philadelphia, I was putting them down at the bottom of the power ranking, even when they were the last undefeated team, and that the last team to lose in the NFL has won the Super Bowl 21% of the time, even though that's only happened once in the 2000s. It is over the course of history. If you were the last team to win a football or lose a football game, then you have a 21% chance of winning the World Series or the Super Bowl. So I have to give Philadelphia their props. I told them they never faced anybody. They didn't have a lot of competition. Well, you beat a very solid Dallas team, and you did it pretty heavily, especially the first half. You forced Dallas into a bunch of different changes and a bunch of different things that they don't like to do. And so, solid on you. Philadelphia is my number 2. And number 1, Josh Allen revenge tour rolls on. They go into Kansas City. They get the win. They make a statement. And for now, until somebody beats them, the Buffalo Bills are my number 1 seed and my still pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl and most likely at this point win the Super Bowl. So those are the power rankings. We have the Giants, the Vikings, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Buffalo Bills. Those are my 5. Brian will probably give you his either Friday or next Tuesday. He'll just jump in and re-rank them again. He did not send those over. He got tied up probably in his meetings and classes all day. All right, that will be it for the NFL. We recapped week 6. We picked week 7. We went over the power rankings. We now move on to Major League Baseball. The NLCS and the ALCS is set. In the National League side, you have the San Diego Padres, who eliminated the 111-win Los Angeles Dodgers. With nothing in this world makes me happier than the Dodgers to lose, especially when your head coach months ago says, I promise you, we are going to win the 2022 World Series. Well, sir, no, you're not, because you can't beat the San Diego Padres. The Padres will face the Philadelphia Phillies. Here is their own little Cinderella story. Here is a team early in the year. Joe Girardi is their manager, and they fire him, and they go and put an interim guy in there, and they just hope to get through the season and try to rebuild some stuff. And Bryce Harper and the boys pick up what this guy is doing and rip off a bunch of wins and make the playoffs and then beat the 100-win Atlanta Braves and advance themselves into the NLCS. This should be a really good series. Philadelphia's playing some really good ball. San Diego, pitching-wise, has pitched really well. I will be very interested to see how this story goes. If I had just had to take a guess, I would pick San Diego in 6, but I could see the path where Philadelphia gets there. I think Bryce Harper is on a path to prove himself. He's had a lot of stats, but the World Series is the one thing that's evaded him. So this is why I love Major League Baseball. It's not cut and dry. It's not these teams are here every year. It's at any given time a team can get hot and win a world championship, and that's exactly what the Philadelphia Phillies and the San Diego Padres have done. On the other side of the bracket, a little bit scary. The New York Yankees tried to give it away, and I think Mother Nature helped them out, gave them an extra day, and didn't play the game. Then they had to play a day game, and they forced Game 5. And today they beat the Cleveland Guardians 5-1 on the leadoff first inning 3-run homer by Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton hits a 3-run homer, and they win 5-1, and they're advancing to play Houston. Now, with the rain, they start tomorrow, so they don't get any rest. They got to play back to back. That's a bad break by MLB. I would think that they should have been able to give, since of the weather delayed Game 5 till today, that they should have been able to give either team, whether it was the Guardians or the Indians, or the Guardians or the Yankees, a day to in between. They could have moved Game 1 to Friday. They didn't. So if you're the Yankees, you just got to roll with what they gave you and roll into tomorrow and try to play the Astros. Gut feeling in that series is that the Houston Astros are going to win. I don't like saying that because I'm not a big Astros fan, but I think with what the Yankees went through and the adversity they faced to get past Cleveland, that they may have some trouble getting past Houston. We'll see. Should be a good series. Both of them should be. I don't think either of them go 4. I think they both go 6 or 7. And I think we have a solid World Series on our hands coming up. Real quick, I don't have the lineup in front of me, but the NBA does start tonight. We will be covering that as it gets rolling. But they do all start back tonight. That's about it for Major League Baseball. There will be a hockey segment, Craig's Hockey Hat Trick. I will be back on Thursdays for that with all the NBA and NHL and NFL and Major League Baseball playoffs. We just felt that you weren't going to be able to cover it. We'd be on here for 2 hours if we covered everything. So we've decided to over the course of the week break some things up. And so I'm going to have a hockey segment on Thursday. It was supposed to start last Thursday. The Restream app that we use to broadcast was down. I tried to get on and it kept logging off, and we hit technical support up, and they said that the website was down. And then, of course, Friday came and high school football and Saturday band competitions and Monster Jam, and I just didn't have a chance to do last week's episode. But there will be one this Thursday, and we will cover the first week of the NHL, what teams we expect to make a run here, what teams have started hot, what teams have not. And we will just go into about a 20 or 30 minute breakdown, probably, maybe a little bit longer. The first episode probably to cover everything, maybe a little bit longer. But overall, that hockey segment will be on Thursday. Brian will cover college football on Friday. He will probably give you the things that we missed from this episode from his standpoint. He will cover last week's game. I'm sure he'll have something to say about the Packers losing to the New York Jets and Zach Wilson. We had to call him and check on him after that game because he was waving the white flag on the football season already. He had texted me and said that he's glad it's hockey season because he doesn't think the Packers are going to be around long to watch the NFL. So that will be it for this episode. I appreciate you tuning in. We got everything covered. We got our picks in. We are ready for week 7 in the NFL. Dak Prescott will be coming back. Taylor Heineke will be taking over in Washington for the Commanders. There should be some good games. Buffalo has a bye this week. After beating Kansas City, they get a little bit of a rest, and we will see if anything else leaves the Carolina Panthers in the fire sale. There has been talk of the McCaffrey trade to either Buffalo or anybody that will take that massive contract. We will see if anybody decides to do that. Friday night, Brian will be back. This Friday, I have high school football. The Centennial Spartans will be playing Brewer It'll be homecoming. Last Friday, they faced Alito and suffered their first loss of the season. Boy, Alito's good. Just when you thought that maybe there was a chink in the armor, they had lost a couple games earlier in the season, but they weren't district games. They've won 109 district games in a row, 15 district titles in a row, and they played Denton Ryan this week, and boy, it just was brutal. These boys played their hearts out. They tried to do what they could, but bigger, faster, stronger. It just it wasn't even a match. 64-21, and they could have very easily made it 70 or 75. It just was a absolute track meet out there. These kids were doing whatever they needed to do and had our kids winded and exhausted by the end of the game, and made some simple mental errors that we don't normally make. There is no band competition this weekend. The final one will be the 29th of October in Waco. So things should start to get back to a little bit of a normalcy for the Friday night episode right after the playoffs conclude for high school football. That's about it for my weekend. I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. God bless, and remember, always keep it outspoken.